Content Catchup.
Well, friends and enemies, welcome to another episode of the Content Catch-Up. Bucks, how are you?
Yeah, great, thank you.
Doesn't really matter how you are, Bucks, because this week we've got a guest. I was waiting to do that. I've been practicing that all day.
You were too polite. I thought something was up.
We've got a guest with us today, Bucks. And this is someone who, if you've been following us for a little while, you might have seen her some of her work pop up in our feed. She's an extremely talented photographer from Queensland, and her name is Casey Sims. Casey, welcome to the Content Catch-Up.
Hi guys, thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah, round of applause.
Stop it, it's enough already.
How's everything going for you? How's lockdown life treating you? First of all, formal question.
Look, it is what it is. I'm not going to complain to Melbourne people. Hopefully the end is in sight. But the Olympics are keeping me occupied, so I'm happy with that. I'm sure it's probably similar for you guys as well.
I don't think I've ever watched as much Olympics as I have this year, but it has been a good blessing, honestly.
It's been so good. Been like living for it the whole entire time. Bit too much, but it's okay.
We got to look for the positives as well. We're not going to start off this show by complaining about being in lockdown. So good positive energy, you two. That's good. Speaking of positive energy, let's go straight into our 1 minute brief, which I'm sure you're all too familiar with this, Casey. So I'm going to jump straight right into it.
Yep.
Few quick fire questions. What is your nickname or favorite nickname, if you've got a couple?
My good friends call me Case, which it's easy.
Yep.
Obviously being ginger, I've copped every orange related name under the sun. Thanks, Chris Lilly. And probably the best one I ever had was a couple of years ago. I busted my arm. I had a broken flipper and I'm orange. So the uni baseball team decided to call me Nemo.
That's good. I love that.
That's a very clever one.
But than that, every generic form of Ranger joke and variations of my name, so that's about it.
No, we're sticking with Nemo. I love that. Welcome to the show, Nemo. For those that don't know, well, job title and I guess hobby title, because you call it's just photography as a hobby. So what is your job and hobby title?
Oh, now you've said that, I feel like I've been stitched up by someone. I have my suspicions already.
I only said that because I don't know him, but Josh submitted a question about. So we'll get into that later. But anyway, job title.
Okay, well, normal life job title, I'm a PhD student and sessional academic, so I'm a nerd, aware. And then freelance sport photographer / content creator, and that's like the hobby, very expensive hobby, and like side hustle situation. So yeah, too many names. Yeah,
nice. Thirdly, favorite bit of content you've worked on?
I probably can't pin it down to one thing. I'd probably say like being there to capture my friends qualifying for the Olympics this year has been like scenes.
That's awesome.
I think would just be the way to describe that. Yeah, scenes. Yeah.
Do you want to give a shout out to who like specifically you're talking about?
No, because if I miss someone, that's going to be a problem. There's been a lot.
I was gonna say I love it that there's that many that you don't have to say them all because otherwise you're gonna miss it. So that itself is pretty telling. That's pretty cool. Do you have a best non-work skill?
Well, all this stuff was until everyone found out about a couple of years ago. Okay. Before I say it, I'm not going to do it on camera. I can use my hands together. I can use my hands as a skipping rope, if that makes sense. So I can get my hands from behind my back all the way over, through my feet and then.
Is that double jointed?
Yeah, through the upper body. Yeah.
I used to be able to, not to make this about me, Jules, sorry, but I used to, growing up, I used to be double jointed so both hands could go all the way back, and then I used to walk around in primary school in my sleeves, but it looked like a stump. Anyway, I don't know what.
Thanks for that, Bucks.
I was a weird kid.
This isn't your 1 minute brief.
No, but just when Casey said that, it sounded like something that, I could relate to.
My shoulders are kind of hurting from the thought of trying to.
Does it hurt, Casey?
Oh no, not at all.
No, okay.
Not at all. Yeah, like I said, I'm not doing it though.
That's fair enough. we don't want to go back too much, but PhD student, how do you balance that with you're kind of like what you call a hustle of like doing photography?
Yeah, right. I think I've just always kind of, oh, I'm gonna try that again. With PhD work, I treat that like a full-time job. So like once I hit 5 p.m., I don't want to don't talk to me about research. I don't want to care about science. I don't care about hamstrings. Meh. And then I get to do all the fun stuff like on the weekend instead. And like PhDs are kind of cool because like you've got a lot of flexibility in like your hours. Some are a bit different to others, but luckily my supervisors are pretty chill. So as long as I get my work done, like within whatever the specified timeframes are, I can kind of do what I want in my own time. So that's kind of how I balance it. So yeah, it all works.
Awesome. Yeah, I suppose it sounds like it's once you finish, photography is like a bit of an escape from all the hard thinking anyway. And it's something, yeah. All right. Well, thanks for indulging my nerd PhD chat. But
Nemo the nerd. That's going to be our promotion.
Jeez.
Advertising. God, here we go. All right, that's good.
Let's go back to the photography side of things for you. When did it kind of all begin for you? When did you first pick up a camera, and has it always been athletics that you've kind of been interested in?
Okay. So athletics, yes, because I started athletics when I was like 4 or 5, and like I haven't left. I'm a tragic, I know. The photography side, I was coaching. So 2 things kind of happened at once. I was coaching at a little athletics club, and I was the youngest person in the committee. And they went, "We need social media content. We have nothing." And I was like, "Okay." And they handed me a camera and went, "Off you go." And I was like, "Okay." At about the same time, I started an athletics club here in Queensland, and we wanted to like have a point of difference. And the point of difference was that pretty much no other club in Queensland was on social media, so it wasn't appealing to anyone young to like get amongst it. And I was like, we're gonna have to do something about that. And then managed to get like hold of like a really dodgy secondhand like 200D Canon with a kit lens, and kind of just went out and just took photos, and they were so trash, so bad. And luckily at like athletics meets, Lynchy, shout out, he let me go out like trackside and take photos. And then like across the years it kind of snowballed, so people were like, "Oh, okay, so you can take photos, can you take photos of me?" And then I've just kind of been practicing and getting better and better and better. But literally up until about mid 2019, I was literally shooting on like beginner gear. So if anyone who knows cameras, like literally like an 80D with like a nifty 50, that's what I was shooting sport on. Looking back, not ideal. And then like if I got to like a big meet, it's like I got to shoot like nationals. And I had to like borrow equipment from like friends or like hire it out, and I still had no idea what I was doing. But I think across the past 2-ish years, it's kind of been like really like kind of formative in it being a little bit more legit. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's kind of awesome. I think like the starting point of it is it's kind of like very similar to a lot of people's journey in digital and like social media and all that. It's like, oh, you're the youngest person here. You've got to understand how this all works here. You go do whatever. We don't really get it. But the way you've kind of developed it from there, kind of building on the equipment side of thing, and this might be a bit too tech heavy, but is having the best equipment from the start, do you think, let me rephrase that. Is having worse equipment from the start better in terms of developing your skills and your like eye for actually taking photos, so you're not kind of relying on the actual machine or it's whatever to do the work?
Yeah. What I learned having to shoot with a 50mm, I had to move. Like I couldn't stay in one spot. I couldn't zoom in on people. I had to be very like here, there, and everywhere. So yeah, I think definitely shooting with terrible gear also made me appreciate what I have now, which is huge. It was a little bit of a limitation. Like if you've got 2 beginners and someone's come in with all the gear, obviously their photos are going to be slightly better just from a processing point of view. So they potentially might get like a head start or might get like a bit more accelerated than you are. But eventually people learn to appreciate like what you've got. But yeah, the trying days of the 80D and the nifty 50 for like a whole entire athletic season definitely developed a lot of more skills that I use today.
Do you have a view on that? Because so many people I think a lot of people I've heard say that beginner photographers especially think it's so reliant on the type of equipment you've got, but in actual fact, like, you could start with that lower gear, and it's, I guess what I'm saying is, like, do you think there's too much pressure on what sort of gear you should have to take good photos?
I think in sport, yes.
Yeah.
In other types, maybe not. Because like in sport, you need to have long range lenses.
Yeah.
And once you get to a certain point, it is pay to play, which is frustrating. Like I was at nationals this year, and I was only one of 2 photographers without a 300 or 400 mil prime lens. And me and this other photographer weren't running around with like 1DXs. So, yeah, I think there is pressure to have better gear, and like especially if you're shooting things like low light, it is going to make a huge difference. Like there's no denying that. But yeah, if you have all the gear when you start, it is going to be found out pretty quickly that you are all the gear and no idea. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, just because like just because you've got like the pretty blurry background doesn't necessarily mean your photo is that good, and it will get called out eventually. So yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you appreciate that you started with shit, basically.
Yeah, started from the bottom.
Did you? So when you first got handed that camera from like the social media person or someone that wanted to do social media for the very first time, did you have like an interest in photography, or did you ever think before that day that it's something you could be interested in?
From like a job perspective or even just a hobby perspective, probably not. Like if you said to me like at the end of high school, like in a few years time, this is what you'll do outside of uni, and I would have been like, haha, get wrecked.
Yeah.
But looking back, when I went on like my first athletics away trip, I took a shitty little digital camera, like it had a little sliding screen as well, and I put a piece of tape on it that said "Say cheese." How cringe. And so looking back, like I probably have always tried to take photos when someone like gave me a camera, but like just didn't really have like one in the family and stuff growing up. And like looking back, like those like design competitions and stuff you do during school, like design a poster, design the school shirt, blah blah blah. Like looking back, I'm like, I always used to win those, so now I'm like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. I was always kind of had a bug for it. I just didn't really have the probably the means or like someone to be like, hey Casey, I think you should probably do this a bit more. Instead, I went down the sports science, sporty nerd path instead.
I think I don't know, I find that really cool that it's sort of, you saw signs of it now that you're here, but you didn't actually think that that's what you could possibly be doing. And now you've got your own brand, you've got your website, you do all these amazing things. So it's pretty damn cool. Let's go to the athletic side of things. And I think, Jules, you said this in our first contact with Casey, that we might sound like we've got no idea what we're talking about, and it's because it's true. We're going to know nothing about athletics. So let's assume the people listening are the same. Explain to us, I guess, the fun side, or what's so fantastic about, I guess, shooting athletics, and maybe compared to other sports, if you can. So like what is it about it that makes it exciting, and in your view?
As a sport in general, there's like something for everyone. Like there's so much going on, and you can see that with the Olympics. Like one moment we've got middle distance runners, and we've got a sprint race, then we're throwing javelins, and we're jumping over like high jump. Like there's a lot going on, and from a photography perspective, it's very much the same. Like when you're like shooting nationals, for example, even just shooting a general meet that goes for like 2 to 3 hours, you can't stay still. There is no stopping. Like you will like be here, there, and everywhere. There's just so much going on, and because there's so much going on, there's also like so many stories, there's so many people, there's just so much like vibes that it's insane. Like just the amount of like kilometers you'll clock up, just like capturing just a track and field meet is actually ridiculous across a day. Whereas like when I shoot football, I can probably hang out in probably at 4 positions across 90 minutes and get like the content that I need. Whereas like athletics, you need to be here, there, and everywhere. And then like think people are throwing things at you. It's very dangerous. Like it's just so much going on, and it's cool. And then once you get to like watching like the elite guys, it's insane to like process what they're actually doing. So like for example, pole vault, men's pole vault, those guys are jumping close to 6 meters. Like that is ridiculous, and you don't realize it until you're sitting there like with wide angle, and you're like, oh my god, that's stupid. High jump, like the girls are jumping over 2 meters. Like when you just like thinking of that, you're like, this is ridiculous. And then like watching like the track, the men's 100, it's over in 10 seconds, and I literally have probably about 1 second to get whatever I need to. It's just absolutely crazy. Like there's no stopping.
Sounds like it's so exhilarating, and like that that comparison to football is, you're so right. Like you can just plonk yourself in one spot and know that like everything's going to happen within a certain area of what you're going to do. But from the sounds of what you're describing, it's like not everyone there is for the one event that everyone else is there for. So like there might be people there who are really keen on seeing the sprinting side of things, or there might be people who are like, oh, we need more stuff from the shot put, discus kind of events. That's, to be able to like break up your day and cover 10 different things in one sounds pretty awesome.
It's very hectic, I can assure you. I think if I might put it on Strava because it was pretty funny. Up to 14 Ks per day.
Jeez.
If I'm shooting from like 8 till 5. And that's like lugging, like I'm not a big person to begin with, but like carrying like 2 cameras, it takes it out of you. You cook by the end of it. And then like usually those big carnivals are like multi-days. So like after day 3 or 4, you're like you really need like an IV drip of like Red Bull or something.
That's crazy.
You're out getting massages with the rest of the athletes.
Yeah, like I need physio, please. Yeah.
Who are you? Oh, I'm just the photographer. That makes it like even more impressive, the shots we see on your page and other photographers. Like, not to take anything away from footy photographers or other sports where they sort of just stay in multiple spots, but the shots we see on your page, it's literally because you're sprinting, moving to get the actual shots and to get that close as well. Like I know the lens obviously helps, but some of the like emotion you see up close on the athletes' faces are awesome, because now like we know that you're literally running to get there.
Yeah, and it's like sometimes you've got to you're like, am I going to be able to get there or not? The photo of Liz Clay coming across the line, hands out from the Whisper Award, I almost missed that, because at the same time Nicola was jumping the Oceania record at like 2:01, and I was like literally back and forth. So I ran, got Liz, turned around and managed to get Nicola as she was clearing the bar, but because that was in the shade and that was in the sun, it was completely overexposed, but managed to salvage it, thank God. But like in my head I was like, I need to be here, I need to be here, I need to be here. It's like chaos. Isn't that so fun?
Isn't that what makes it, I was going to say, isn't that what makes it so exciting, the make or miss nature of photography? Like, you know that there's such an easy chance you can miss one of your favorite photos.
Yeah, it keeps you on your toes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Just like, oh my God. Yeah.
This was actually submitted by a fan, Elise, fan of the show, but it's in our run sheet as well, so I'm going to cover it now. Covering what's so funny, Jules?
Fan of the show.
My
fan
partner,
of the show, and a fan of Barks.
It's not about me. Do you have a particular event like that you've covered a ton, I'm assuming, but like, do you have a favorite or top 2?
Field event wise, pole vault's always so much fun. Those people flying, it's ridiculous. And like all the pole vaulters are just like so like into it. Like you'll always get like energetic reaction. They're like hella focused, but if they clear the bar, like you'll get the energy and the vibes. It's awesome. Track wise, the 100-meter sprints are good because they're a challenge, but I like the middle distance because you can always like, especially like a 5K, you've got 12 and a half laps. You've pretty much got 12 chances to create different and cool shit. Oh, yeah. Sorry, language. Like different and cool stuff.
Swear-free podcast, Nemo.
Yeah.
Love that. So yeah, like you can like get like your standard stock shots that you need to get, and then you can like have fun with panning shots and stuff on the back straight. And sometimes it's also just chaos, like steeplechase as well. So there's nothing like really specific, and also it depends on the competition. Like the higher stakes, the more you'll get out of the athletes in terms of like emotion and reaction. You can see how much it means to them, which is also cool.
Do you feel like and this might seem like a very obvious question, but do you feel like the athlete's personality also plays into a lot of like the excitement of covering athletics? Like, it seems from the outset that they've all got quite big, energetic, almost confident personalities that shine through really well in content.
Yeah, like they've all got something different, but even the quieter ones can still make some really cool images because like you just get that calmness in amongst like all the chaos that's occurring. Yeah, and then like learning what each of those athletes will do post race, for example. Like I know there's like one sprinter from New Zealand, Eddie. If he wins a race, 100%, he'll like run around halfway around the bend. We usually drop to one knee, puts one hand up in the air. He'll come back, he'll hug everyone. And then if he comes back and he knows who you are, then he'll play to the camera. So like, yeah, if you know the personalities, you also kind of like, you'll know what they'll get up to. And then like, if you know them as well personally, they'll interact with you, which is also create some of those like even like more fun shots. And like, it just makes it also enjoyable for them and enjoyable for you. And like, again, just vibes. That's literally it. Yeah.
Shout to Eddie if you're listening.
Eddie sounds like the man. Something that Bucks and I've kind of spoken about before, but like building relationships with athletes, it does tend to get the better content out of them. And that example with Eddie sounds like the perfect one to lead into this question. But how do you go about like forming those relationships in such what seems like an intense environment, and getting their trust to know that, hey, if I see you with the camera, I'm going to come straight to you because I know I'm going to get that killer shot?
Yeah, it probably helps that I've grown up with a lot of these athletes. Like,
okay,
before I was on the sideline, like I used to compete, went to nationals, all that kind of jazz. And like having that kind of introduction helps. And it sounds like so like simple, but I think also really important. It's just like, don't be a dickhead. There's so many people who like come to shoot athletics and they think they're better than everyone else, and it's like, mate, like your high performance in your media situation, their high performance in what they're doing on the track, we're all just here to like enjoy what we're doing. So yeah, I think just like, yeah, just being like friendly and nice, and yeah, building those relationships is super, super important. And you can tell when that doesn't occur so much, but definitely having that trust has been like really key. And then like you'll have athletes reach out to you before a meet occurs to be like, hey, like, will you be there? Like, can you help me out with some content? But okay, cool. Yeah, done.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool to have that kind of connection. And I love the no dickhead policy because it just applies to just about everything in life, doesn't it? Like,
I think that's
doesn't matter what you're doing. Yeah,
it's a great answer to quite a serious question. Just don't be a dickhead. Signing off, Casey.
Given that you do have like some very close relationships, it sounds like, with a lot of these athletes, is it quite exciting for you now to see them on the biggest scale in the Olympics and like see them on national TV and be like, hey, I've played a part in your journey?
I wouldn't say play a part. I'd say I've helped with their Instagram and that's about it.
That's still a pretty big part these days.
Instagram makes money.
That's true. You raise a good point.
Talk it up.
Yeah, like I probably don't, like, it's not being starstruck or anything. Like I'm super proud of them. Like I said, a lot of them are good friends, and like I'm all like hyping everyone up like through sharing Instagram stories. If you guys have probably seen for the past week, I'm sorry. It's just cool just seeing like these guys out there, but I can understand from an outside perspective how like weird it kind of is that like you've spent like the past, say, 6 months like hanging out with effectively like the Australian Olympic team at meets, and like I understand how that's kind of like a big deal to some people, but I'm just stoked to see my friends out there doing cool stuff. So yeah, it's awesome.
It would be like, our perspective is like, oh my God, these like untouchable kind of athletes, but to you that it's a community, it's friends, it's like people you've grown up with. It's still awesome that you can see them and be like, yeah, I've snapped you here from here to here, and to go to the next stage. You must be pretty proud. The other thing I think I wanted to touch on is your work started to appear in a few more places other than just Instagram. Has that been kind of cool for you to see as well?
Yeah. like the Channel 7 one the other night.
Yeah.
I was actually sitting there. You know that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's sitting at the drink, he's just like,
Yeah.
like, that's my photo. Yeah, it's like, I still don't view myself as like a professional photographer or whatever. So
Yeah.
like seeing that stuff is like seeing it for the first time every single time. Like after Track Classic, there was a few photos that ended up in like the major newspapers, and I was just like, by the way, I don't buy the newspaper. I'm not old. But
if anybody does that, it's completely fine. No judgment.
Yeah, good on them. Good on them. But like, she puts down the paper and she's like, oh, there's athletics in there. I was like, hold up, I took that. Oh my god. And there's been a few instances like that where I'm like, oh, okay, this is like low key a bit of a big deal, but at the same time, like, oh, that's cool, and then move on to the next one. Yeah, I don't know. It's still just very much like.
I think it's so important to continue to appreciate though, because I think the minute you sort of don't, then you've sort of lost a part of I guess your journey in a way. I know that sounds very deep, but like it is in a way. If you see your photo on TV and you're sort of like, yeah, that's another one. I feel like you've just sort of you've missed it. you're out of the loop a bit.
It's still crazy. It's still crazy every time you're like, oh my gosh, okay, all right, don't freak out. We cool. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so the next part of this is aside from your great photo taking, we've noticed you're sort of bringing a fresh approach to content on your Instagram channels, which we're loving. And it's actually pretty cool now that we know that you were sort of first handed a camera at a young age because someone thought, hey, she could probably manage social media and sort of create the ways there, but now you're actually doing it. Do you enjoy sort of changing and trialing the way you share your content, like with reels and the 3D photos and the sort of stuff you're doing? Is that part of I guess your area that you're enjoying more now?
Yeah, it's been fun. I don't know, I just like creating stuff. Like it's cool.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, I literally just have a stack of fun doing it. It's cool to do something a little bit differently. In terms of the reels though, your good friend Social Sandwich.
I knew this was coming.
Was going on.
Don't call him my good friend.
Acquaintance.
Sorry, your mortal enemy. There we go. I saw him on socials being like, everyone get on reels, and I was like, okay. But I really want to do reels for our club account. So our club account, like, I don't want to brag. No, I am going to brag. Our club social media is probably one of the best in the country, I'd probably argue.
Yeah.
And we wanted to step up to reels. Like we've got like pages of notes in all our iPhones of like stuff we want to do. However, Instagram has stitched us up and we can't access reels through our club account. So I was like, all right, fine. So in the meantime, I was like, oh, I might trial some stuff on my personal one for a bit of a laugh. And then it went all right. So another one.
To say it went all right is very modest.
And then did another one, I think yesterday. Yesterday I didn't do like a highlights reel. I think I attempted to be funny, but I'm not sure how that went down. But yeah, like it's crazy to see how much like traction that got off images that I've already shared on my feed. Like I was like, okay, wow, this is crazy, but it's so much fun just like sitting there and like creating it all. And yeah, I don't know, so much. I literally just enjoy it.
Yeah, fun. No, that's the best answer though, like that you just enjoy it. Do you think part of it is people that, like, this could sound rude or ignorant to the sport, but do you think people aren't sure about the content game in athletics and they sort of come and see what's behind the scenes in some of the reels you do and then they're like, holy shit, this is actually pretty cool?
Yeah, but I think like in jet, okay, I don't want to rag on my sport. I love my sport, but content wise, we need to do better. Yeah. Just like across the board. So that's what we try and do with like my club account is we just try and have fun and celebrate the sport, just like all the other sports promote their sport. I've said the word sport too many times. But yeah, it's people just want to see what's happening, like what goes in behind the scenes, and like using like reels and stuff. I've seen like World Athletics actually do a really good job. Credit to them. In terms of just like getting those like epic, like the good bits and being like, yo, this is it. And then people are like, oh my gosh, like I can't even deal. Yeah. I've seen that with a stack of my like non-athletics friends. They'll send me reels of athletics. And they're like, what the hell is this? And I was like, that's pole vault. And they're like, oh my gosh.
Pole vault.
And then they'll go from there. So yeah, it's been good because there really hasn't been too much in terms of athletics content other than like your stock standard photos. There's some people who are doing some really cool stuff behind the scenes, which has been fun. But we definitely have a long way to go.
Who are
So
those
yeah,
people?
sorry. Oh,
Do you
okay.
have individuals you want to shout out or
Yeah,
inspire you?
I can probably say just in Australia by itself. Let's go. Okay, there's a meme account called Heaps Good Runners, and
Okay.
the memes are taking more or less the piss out of like athletics. Sometimes athletics Australia, which is not too good, but that's all right. Some of them are funny. Um, they just in general just memes of like track and field, like really relevant. They'll be straight onto it, like Peter Bowl, who came fourth in the 800 final. They've done a meme of like X-ray, someone holding their back, and it's just like Peter Bowl carrying the whole 800 final on his back, and like it was perfect. It was really timed, it was well done. So they're doing something really good, something different. Tempo Journal do a really good job of sharing people's stories. They're based in Melbourne. Um, at Let's Go Oceania. So I have the pleasure, absolute pleasure, of working with Kobe when we go to Oceania meets. But in general, the Oceania social media has stepped up considerably, like just sharing stories of what happens in the island and also what happens in Australia. And then when we go to a meet, Kobe and I like team up together. She'll do a bit of video, I'll do a bit of photo, and we just try and like just get people like amongst the competition, like as if they were there. So yeah, I probably have missed some people, and I'm sure someone's going to come after me for it. That's okay. But there are some people who are doing some cool stuff in track and field in social media, but we definitely have like a long way to go. And yeah, we try to do that, but sometimes like we're limited by technology, thanks Instagram. But once we get reels, I can assure you there's going to be a lot of like a good mix of like showing our sport, because our sport's so cool. Like when you like actually watch, you like I can't even deal. And also like sharing the stories and also just having fun with it. Like it is like when you go to an athletics meet, it's so much fun, and I think more people need to see that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
The way you just said, and not, please don't take this as patronizing because I've been accused of this before by Barks, but like the way you just said that your sport is so cool, and the way you said it was actually like that sounded so genuine in the fact that like it's not just work, it's not just anything, it's truly like a passion for you to cover this, to go out and do it, and it sounds like something you absolutely bloody enjoy. Like like you don't really get I always say there's the poor bloody accountants out there, but you never get an accountant come out and go, oh man, like my job is so much fun. Like it's I think it's the unique position that we're all in, and I think that's where a lot of us strive or get our inspiration to keep doing better, like by seeing other people be so inspired by what they're doing. It's just awesome to hear that you still got such a passion for it.
Oh, trust me, I'll be one of those masters athletes at age 90. Sometimes do it, like doing the 100 meters. It's gonna be so much fun. But yeah, it's awesome.
I think it's also the other thing I took from that is as disappointing as it might be that there hasn't been enough done in the content or sort of exposing your sport. I feel like that has to be a part of you that excites you, that there is still so much to do. Like you actually genuinely want to grow it, and that's a drive, I assume. So that part's pretty cool, just in terms of a motivation, I guess.
Yeah, and there's so much space for growth. By the way, I forgot, and hopefully they don't come after me for this. Some of the individual athletes in athletics in Australia have been doing a really good job of sharing stuff behind the scenes. So last episode, you guys talked about Olympic Village and all that kind of stuff.
Yep. There
are a few vloggers amongst athletes in Australia. So Cedric Dubler is probably the OG vlogger in terms of athletics stuff and content. Yeah. He's built up a following across the previous years, like training diaries and all that kind of stuff. Matt Denny as well has been doing a bit of like road to Tokyo stuff. There's a few who are actually quite talented with the camera, and they share athletics that way, which is like really cool. There's also some that are funny. He's gonna hate me for saying this. Alex Hartman did a hilarious reel where he's put a 360 camera on his head and he's done like a rep, and you've seen the front view and then you see his face, and it's so funny. So yeah, there are some athletes who are just starting to generate their own content, which is cool, but it'd be cool to kind of like get more people together and get more gear together and just like share our sport, which would be cool. Yeah.
They're on They're on the right track though. If there's already a number of people doing vlogs and actually doing it off their own bat and not being asked to do content, because we've said this multiple times, nothing beats like athlete generated content from them doing it by themselves. Like as much as that pains us content creators, if they choose to do something, it's going to outweigh everything we do.
Oh, easy.
I guess it kind of leads into the next question, all of this, but where would you describe yourself as not a professional photographer, but is that the end goal for you? Is that what you would like to do full time and have yourself be like this amazing content creator that gets to travel the world and people are calling up and being like, hey, Casey, like come cover this event in Europe. Oh no, we need someone in America. Like, let's do that.
Okay. I don't know. I'll be honest. I'm a nerd at heart. I love my science degree and I love teaching. Like teaching at uni is so much fun. I love it.
Yeah.
But like, if this continues as like, if I can do both at the same time, heck yes, awesome.
Yeah.
I don't think I could potentially be full time. The opportunity is there though if I want to pursue it. But for now, I kind of want to stick with science and teaching and all that kind of stuff. However, I'm not someone who has like goals. I can't deal with goal setting. Ugh, no. But it'd be sick to be like embedded within like a team. So like how I think it's Matt who's with the Australian Boomers, like how he gets to go with the Boomers and create content on the road. Yeah, that would be cool to do. Same with like the guys embedded in the Formula One teams, like big fan of like the McLaren boys and what they do. So like, yeah, getting to travel with a team and kind of like doing that start to finish across say a 2-week period would be like just so much fun. Being able to like do like a mix of like photo, video, just general content and just be like kind of be also be in that high performance environment as well. So yeah, maybe in the future, I don't know, but for now I can, this is fun. I'm cool with this at the moment. Yeah.
You get the best of both worlds still.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so intriguing that you so many people I feel like are goal setters where they like that's a key thing that we hear and I'm sure you've heard, but you're just like screw it, that doesn't motivate you setting goals.
Yeah, no, just chill, like whatever happens like that'll be fun. Yeah,
I think that's great. Is video a space you've played around with, or is that just a future sort of not a goal because you don't set goals?
Thank you. A little bit. So again with the club stuff, I feel like I'm speaking my club, but go Tigers. With the photo stuff, like it got boring. Not boring is the wrong word. There was just a lot of it. Yeah, it was repetitive. And like I managed to capture most of the athletes and that's what we needed. So we just started taking some short videos and we did a few like highlight reels and we called it Tiger TV. And that was like so much fun to create. And then like closer to nationals, we did a little bit of a hype video. It was so cringe, but it was so much fun. And just creating that, kind of creating those like little videos on top of the photo content. It's been fun. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing video, but seem to get like some of the settings okay, and then have a bit of fun in Premiere, find some sick music, and then go from there. But like I'd love to be able to create like a stack of like athletics reels, but hopefully soon, we'll see. Yeah.
That's where it starts though, and I'm sure judging from what we've heard from this chat, you'll be doing it in no time. So it sounds like photography is all self-taught, right? So like video can't be, I mean, no reason why video can't be any different.
Yeah, I've just University of YouTube and a lot of trial and error, and that's pretty much the same for video as well. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, and then just having a bit of fun out there.
No, I'm the exact same. I think that wraps up our formal part of this. So Jules, you want to go on to fan questions?
Yeah, let's go into some fan questions. I think we've already had the first one from the lovely Elise.
Sorry, Elise.
Won't talk ill on her. But we've got another one from Darren, a big fan of the show, Darren. Also a big fan of Barks.
Can we give him like...
He wouldn't be related to Barks, would he?
He's my twin. We got to give him fake names. Otherwise, it just sounds like I've reached out. Hey, Mum, what are you up to tonight? I want to send through a question.
This is just further proving my point that your family are like the top listeners of this show.
Hey,
shout out
shout out family. Anyway, get on with it, Jules. Ask the question.
Darren has asked. It's a good question. Do you have a favorite athlete you've shot and why?
Ooh, that's like choosing your favorite child. Shit. Oh God, don't do this. If I say one person, no, I can't do that. What I will say is probably like one photo. So this will kind of answer this question.
Yeah.
Not necessarily athlete. Sorry, Liz. But there was a photo I took of Liz Parnoff at Oceania 2019. Ended up winning the Whisper Award from that and got to like virtually meet some really cool people. And that kind of was very much a big kickstart into the massive improvement in terms of photography and being recognized and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of have to thank Liz Parnell for that image. But yeah, I can't choose one because they've all got something different. Like, yeah, it's like choosing your favorite child. You guys don't do this.
That's what makes it a good question.
Bloody Darren. We've got through nearly an hour of a pod and Darren's the one that's upset you. So it's like, throw it out.
I'll take the next one, Jules. This is from,
okay.
We referred to this earlier. Josh, when will you admit that photography is more than a hobby?
That clown. I'm going to get him. Never. So, okay, backstory. This is one of my very good friends. I'll argue best friend. That's going to make him cringe. Love that.
So you can choose a best friend, but not a best favorite athlete.
Yeah. Ooh.
Drama.
They've been like hyping me up and giving me shit for saying it's a hobby when it probably should be professional, and they will continue doing that until I die. I don't think I'm a professional, if that makes sense. Like, I'm still, like, in terms of sport photography, I'm still running around with arguably amateur equipment. Like, I haven't got the big pro stuff. I'm not doing, actually, I am shooting kind of pro sport in terms of athletics, but not in other sports. Shit, I played myself. But like, it's still like something I do on weekends. And I'll be honest, like, it's my way of getting out on the field because I'm too unfit to compete. Like, it's my method of going out and hanging out with my mates. Like, I don't see it as like a job, if that makes sense. Like, fair enough, people do employ me to capture meets, but still when I'm out there, it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
Like, I can't say it's professional yet.
It almost sounds like a mindset thing you do to enjoy what you do. I don't know if I'm just talking shit there, but that almost sounds like a mindset thing of like, you don't treat it as a job, so you're there to have fun. I don't know. It sounds...
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's just fun.
I like it.
I can't explain it. Yeah. Yes,
it also almost sounded like you were trying to talk yourself out of the fact that you were a professional photographer.
Yeah. Like them.
I think that's part of
it.
No. Josh has got you there. The last one we've got is, do you have a favorite individual content creator? And that can be from any sport. It doesn't have to be from athletics specifically.
I'll be honest, I threw that in last minute, so you don't have to answer that. If I was just curious, like I know personally there's so many, especially in the States, so many individual content creators, but even if you've got someone in the athletics world that essentially does what you do in sort of building the sport but inspires you. But again, if you don't have an answer, that's completely cool.
I probably wouldn't use the word inspire. Like, I don't want to follow someone's path or trajectory, if that makes sense. Like, I see people's work and I'm like, that's sick. And I wouldn't put anyone higher above everyone else. There's probably like a collective group from like, they make sick content. That's awesome. And like the opportunities they get is cool. So yeah. Yeah.
Is there a key one like that you tend to scroll past and I guess appreciate more than others, or not? No, not more than others. Never mind. That's
yeah. Okay. If I can name a group, means I don't have to single someone out of this. Okay. Probably the OG one would be Alicia Loveridge from New Zealand. Probably one of the first few athletics photographers that I saw, and she's really awesome. We've been chatting. She's at the Olympics right now. She's absolutely killing it too. Probably Dan Vernon. He's doing a lot of work for World Athletics at the moment at the Olympics too. You should go check out his work. he's not afraid to fail on Instagram, but Jason Suarez has been doing some cool work in the States. There's so many people. I'm going to miss people. I think probably one of the key ones in Australia would be Riley Wolf. He kind of took athletics photography, not from going from the whole like stock standard, like what you'd capture for a newspaper, to like cool photos that kind of tell a story. Like he showed there was opportunity there. And I think from a non-track and field sense, probably the two photographers / videographers for McLaren F1 team, so Charlie and Henrik, they do a really good job at like storytelling what is, like, you could argue a somewhat like boring sport from the outside. They do a really good job of like just capturing like what's happening there and make you feel like you're there, but also can manage to get like the action stuff as well. And there's a few of the other F1 photographers that I'm like, hey, you guys do like a really sick job. But I think I missed someone. But yeah, just there's like a few people's like work. I'm just like, that's cool. Also, Michael Dawson from New Zealand as well. He does some really cool stuff over there and just takes a different perspective, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Some good New Zealand ones there, it sounds.
Yeah, go Kiwis.
I think the other most impressive thing about that list was that you could rattle off so many people. Whereas, like, if someone asked me that question, I'd be like, like, I don't know, that guy from over there. It sounds like you do your research and follow a lot of cool people.
I just spend way too much time on Instagram. That's what.
Especially
but at least you get something out of it.
Yeah. That's true.
You started off answering it like you had no one in mind, and then you just rattled off like 5 favorites.
All right, what an embarrassment.
All right, well, that's it for the formal questioning. Now, there's an optional part of this. We haven't done this for a while, but I thought, you know what, fuck it, we're all in lockdown, let's have some fun. Yeah. Do you want to join us for the Egg and Boss of the Week?
Ooh, this is an honour. Yes, all right, let's do it.
Okay.
It's funny if you did. Show you guys.
It'd be funny if you denied it and left it.
See ya.
All right, well, let's jump into Egg of the Week. We won't bore you with one of our long-winded Egg of the Week introductions, but let's throw it open to the floor. I'll go first.
Okay.
I want to egg. This is a quick one. I want to egg whoever installed the handlebars on that Australian cyclist's bike the other day during the velodrome. He was going at like 60k an hour during the sprint, and the handlebars just fell off. Whoever installed that, you are an egg. Like, you had one job, literally. Put the handlebars in the bike, make sure that they're tight.
Was there any backstory as to what, did it literally just fall off? Was there a knock on it, or was it
fell off?
It just fell off. Like, you're watching it, he's cycling, and then all of a sudden, poof, like, it's like someone pressed a button and it's just collapsed. And it's dangerous. Like, he could have seriously injured himself. We shouldn't be laughing, but like, big egg whoever installed that.
I've got a quick one. I'll save the best for last. No pressure, Casey. But quick one. I'm egging me and you, Jules. I'm egging you because, Casey, every time we've done this show, showing bits of content through sharing our screen, we've basically stopped the recording, sent each other the link, watched the video with sound, because we're like, oh, Jules, you need sound for this, I'll send you the link. Today I found out there's a little click box down the bottom left saying share sound on your screen recording. We've wasted like so much time through however many episodes when there's a little tick box down the bottom. So we're eggs, Jules, and that's pretty terrible from us.
That's fair. That's definitely fair. All right, batter up, Casey. You got anything?
I wouldn't say a specific piece of content per se, because actually the content across the past week's been sick. But I want like shit takes from either wannabe media people, ex-media people, who have been posting stuff about the Olympics that have either no relevancy or just show they don't know the sport. And it's purely to get like clickbait rise from people or to start discussion and just make themselves like relevant to what's happening. It's like, shut up, no one wants to hear from you. We
could do these every week. There's so many.
So many, yeah.
And you'll never see these, especially for athletics, we won't see these people for another 3 years. Or like these people act like they are the authority on everything, but they have no involvement in the sport. It's like, what have you done? So cut down. But yeah, people with shit takes just to get their own like attention. That's been so frustrating this week. Anyways.
There was so much of that popping up when Simone Biles pulled out of her event. Like, everyone decided to have their opinion. And that's sometimes the problem with social media, isn't it? It's like a smorgasbord of just idiots having shit takes. Like, no one asks for your opinion unless you're a mental health expert or like an athletic psychologist. Probably don't need to hear from you.
Exactly. Just sit back and enjoy the sport. That's what we're here for.
It probably goes back to earlier. Don't be a dickhead.
Don't be a dickhead. No dickhead policy.
There we go. No dickhead policy. Love that.
Boss of the week. We will go to the good stuff.
The good side of it.
We'll start same order. Jules, you want to go?
The same order. I do want to go. I've got one probably a little bit closer to home for us. Sorry, sometimes this podcast does get a bit self-indulgent, but I wanted to boss our friend AJ and the community team at Carlton, because this week's our Carlton Respects game, which is a pretty important game for us in terms of now I'm going to fuck this up because I always fuck it up, but it's about raising awareness for gender equality and helping to prevent the violence against women. This round has been a bit of a mess. Obviously, we can't have crowds, and it's a really cool game when you get everyone there, and they've got all the orange lights and orange socks to cut through the night, and you get people who have experienced domestic violence out into the field, and they get a bit of time, and we get to raise some really important awareness. And I want to boss AJ and the community team because they've had to change their plans about 20 times this week in terms of trying to get people to the game. Are they going to be able to run events? They had Grace Tame lined up for like a speech and all that, and they've just had to can it. But they've adapted and they've still put on a really good week. So I just wanted to boss them and say keep up the good work because they're doing something pretty important.
And that AJ actually listens to this show, so it would be fantastic that
shout out AJ.
Shout out AJ, general boss.
Yeah.
I didn't actually see this, but I saw it all over, and I'm sure Casey, you'll especially be able to give more background to this. I think you can see this.
Are you going to share sound as well?
Don't need it this time, but just the.
The boy.
You talk to it. You talk to it, Casey. Actually, because I didn't watch it, and I wasn't following. I just saw it pop up.
Okay, firstly, I have the absolute pleasure of knowing these two. And so Ash, the one in front here, was in the bronze medal position on event 9 out of 10 for the decathlon. Cedric, who is his training partner beside him, unfortunately no heighted in the pole vault. He could have easily given up. He could have easily just been like, I'm not doing the rest of the event, stuff it, go home. But he didn't. He went out there and helped out Ash. So what he's doing here is Ash needed to stay, I think, within 7 seconds of the guy in fourth and 14 seconds, I think, I'm probably wrong there, from the guy from fifth. If he was within those time limits, he would have got the bronze medal.
Wow.
So Cedric, I'm not sure if you can see it, he may have been running with a stopwatch, he usually does. He was more or less pacing. So you can see at the start, he was like yelling. He's trying to find Ash, like, Ash, you need to come with. Stress man, the third lap of that 1500, Ash dropped back. And of us like watching like, no, oh my God, you can't. And then Cedric's found him again. And what you're seeing here, I don't know if it's word for word, but it was like to the effect of like how much do you want this? Let's fucking go. Yeah. And he was more or less pushing him. So because of that kick up the arse from Cedric, he's managed to get across the line within those time parameters that he kind of had to get. And that's how he ended up with the bronze medal. So cool. Also, the other thing to note here, and like I'm biased because like, again, I grew up doing athletics with Cedric and I know what he's like as a person. So I'm not surprised one bit by this at all. Week and a half before going to the Olympics, he blew his hamstring in a race. So the fact he even got to the start line is a miracle and a half in itself. But he's been out there.
He's running a 1500, keeping Ash up to pace with a bung hamstring as well.
Yeah, so you can see the strapping on his leg there too. Yeah, and that's event 10. So he's managed to get through all those events. It's absolutely insane. And if you watch the full race, you can see Ash manages to finish. Obviously, Cedric's backed off, but Cedric knew what the time was. So he's come across the line like celebrating for Ash, and then Ash has eventually seen the screen, and then you would eventually seen the clip from Olympics 7 being like, fuck yeah, and then they're all getting amongst it. So yeah, that was so good to see, man. Like those two like train their asses off. It's ridiculous. And like yeah, it's a good moment to give athletics a little bit of a spotlight. But those two, I expect kind of like nothing less. That's the type of people that they are. So, yeah.
That's awesome. That's probably my favorite boss of the year this year so far.
It could be boss of the year, yeah.
And I think it's like we almost planned it because we had like the best correspondent in the world to just explain that. I think it's the best. The best explained boss that we've ever had. Usually we just talk rubbish about it.
Yeah, we would have just been like, "Oh, this is cool."
Exactly.
No insight.
It was insane. Like stressful 2 days watching the decathlon, that's for sure. But so happy for Ash and also for Cedric. So yeah, it was some cool shit.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have
turn?
Yeah.
Oh, I do. Okay. Can I share my screen? Is that allowed?
If Barks has set it up.
Yes.
Let's see. Screen 2. Oh, I hope nothing shady comes up. I'm kidding. I'm behaved. Relax. I'm assuming you can see the World Athletics Instagram profiles. Okay. World Athletics this week have freaking knocked it out of the park. Like I said before, our sport doesn't really do a good job of showcasing what goes on, but World Athletics do a really good job in general. But their Tokyo content has been next level. So like overall, their graphics have been sick. You can see them all here. They're all different. They've been awesome. The photography has been amazing. A lot of that is partly Dan Vernon. But the best part is the memes. So
Pokemon.
The first one, this was their first post just the day before the Olympics started. This is your standard from a international organization, like, welcome to the track, hooray. Click to the next slide. This. So good. I could honestly tell you that every single track and field person on my Instagram stories feed had shared that. Like, it was perfect, like perfectly timed. So they've done a few more. That was on the day of the competition starting, obviously from Cool Runnings. Okay, the 3 ladies from Jamaica who won the 100. So this is them. The caption is them rocking up to the 200 the next day. So they've just put their faces on the Destiny Child,
who also don't really like each other. Is that why it's kind of funny as well?
Yeah, it's even funny. Yeah. And it didn't age well either, but that's okay. This for all the athlete entrances, because you can see some of the athletes, especially the Americans, knew how to make an entrance, but everyone else, not really. Actually, some of the Australians had some sick entrances too. But yeah, this was like, it's just so true. And you can see like everyone like getting around it, and like the amount of like whoever's in charge of World Athletics is Insta deserves like a raise has been ridiculous. And then obviously the good old shooting stars meme as Fully Mondo had a jump as well. So there's been so many of them like across the week. They've just nailed it. Like they've done a really good mix of like obviously the serious content, like this is your Olympic champion. Here's like the moments, like also I'm surprised boss of the week you guys didn't mention the high jumpers, but anyways. And like, so they've done all like the wholesome moments and all that kind of stuff, but they've also just had so much fun, which has been, like awesome for our sport. Cause like, it also just opens it up to a kind of a new audience, but also like everyone who's involved in track and field has been like super excited about it at the same time. They're like, stop, these are too much. So yeah, it's boss of the week, World Athletics, boss of the week.
Well done. It helps so much with the community and culture, I reckon. Like, and especially if it's from such a big page. Like, if you showed someone half of that stuff, you'd just be looking like, what is this rubbish? But in actual fact, it gets people around it. You get to know the personalities of the athletes, and it probably makes people want to tune in that wouldn't normally tune in. So it's good.
Exactly. They killed it.
People really discount like how important memes are on social media for like getting people's attention. You're right, like they just get people's attention. Like it's an easy way to consume anything. To the entries, was it is it Matt Denny that like does the
zip? Yeah, that was Matt. And if you know Matt, you are not surprised by that entrance one bit. That's just who he is as a person. So if you go follow him, he's currently stuck in Howard Springs quarantine. Yeah. And his Q&As have been very much that kind of shenanigans. Who else did a cool one? Kurt Marshall did a cool one, did like a golf entrance as well. There's been quite a few. Tara Davis from America, she came out full cowboy hat and like did like a full cowboy strut and everything. It was sick. So I'm sure World Athletics will probably do a compilation of
Thank God
at the end of the week. Yeah,
have to keep an eye out for that.
Yeah,
boss to all the people that put in effort to the entrances, I think is the final one. That one. All right, guys. I think we're done. Casey, I think it's been awesome to chat to you. I think it's been such an awesome perspective on your world. We've found out you're a nerd, you're called Nemo, and most of all, you are a professional photographer. So on behalf of both of us, thank you. It's been awesome getting to know you.
Thank you so much. It's been amazing. Another round of applause.
Thanks, guys, for having me. It's been actually so much fun. I love talking content.
You're more than welcome back anytime. In fact, I actually might try to get Jules off the show because you're co-host material. So let's just... How do you feel, Jules? You're fired.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
Nah.
If I can't set my microphone up one more
Exactly.
week, I reckon I deserve to be axed.
Do we have to have like a race to determine who's going to be the co-host?
You'll win.
Yeah.
There's
I don't know
no
about
chance.
that.
It'd have to be...
I just take the photos. I don't do any of the running. I can assure you that.
It'd have to be content related, like best day in the life behind the scenes, TikTok, Jules versus Casey.
See, but
Anyway,
you'd
we're going
still
off
win
track.
because mine would just be like staring
cat.
at a laptop, my cat,
and
this
your cat.
meeting that I went to. That's it.